many roads across the country because of funding problems. Some were stalled for 10 years, others 12 years, others 14 years, and more. President Ruto has helped us come with innovative ways of raising our own resources, not borrowed resources, to revive and complete all stalled road projects in Kenya. And in the last 1 year, we have been able to raise, through securitization, of just a portion of the fuel levy road maintenance fund. We've been able to securitize and get 175 billion shillings, and we are also about to get an additional 120 billion shillings. In total, we are raising 300 billion shillings to make sure that we complete our roads program across the country. And we are not raising taxes, and we are not borrowing money to build our roads. You have also, as you're aware, you know we have started dueling Lironi Mau Summit, isn't it? So we have started dueling Lironi Mau Summit. No new taxes, no debt, isn't it? The president has announced that for us to move to the next level, we need to build more roads. Between independence, 1963, and now, we've built only 20,000 kilometers of roads. The president has said in the next 7 years, we will move that number from 20,000 kilometers in 60-something years, 62 years. In 7 years, we'll build a new 28,000 kilometers of road. We are dueling roads. We are dueling other roads. In a month or so, you'll see the president working on the Mombasa Road from Chumvi Junction all the way to Emali. Very soon, later in the year, Makutano, Embu, Chuka, all the way to Meru, Maua, and there are other roads, including Namanga to Kitengela, including getting the road in Marwa, extending it all the way to Nyeri Town, Nanyuke, Isiolo, and all the other roads. You have seen the president has helped us as UDA to deliver a life-changing road project that touches on a vast area of our country that for a long time had been left behind. The famous road. Niseme nisiseme. Niseme nisiseme. Rais alisema barabara itatoka Mandera. Niendelee nisiendelee? Kitoka Mandera ikuje Ramu. Itoke Ramu ikuje Gare. Itoke Gare ikuje Kobo. Ikuje Kobo. Niendelee. Ikuje Kobo, ikuje Kotulo, ikuje Wajia, ikuje Samata, ikuje Modogashe, ikuje Kulamawe, mpaka ingie Isiolo. Rais ni fire, si fire. Ni fire, si fire. That road is being built now by this administration. When President Ruto, ni watu Yakobo ama Waelwak. Very well. So, when President Ruto was sworn in as president, the intention was to maram the road from Lamu, Ijara, Garissa, and Isiolo. President Ruto said it should be tarmacked. It is being tarmacked today, all the way from Lamu to Ijara, to Garissa, to Isiolo, and already almost 121 kilometers have already been tarmacked. Rais ni fire, si fire. UDA ni fire, si fire. Mheshimiwa Rais, there are many things. Allow me just to summarize by saying, I am convinced we have done a good job. I am convinced whatever has not been done will be done before the next election. And I am convinced we will defend our scorecard in the next year's election. Going into the future,
Going into the future, the president has led us to envision a new Kenya and the transformation of our country from a third world economy to a first world economy in a single generation. Other countries have done it, we can do it. Singapore did it, we can do it. Malaysia did it, we can do it. South Korea did it, we can do it. China, for example, in 1978 was a poor country. 40 years later, by 2020, China had moved to be the second largest economy in the world, and they had succeeded in pulling 800 million Chinese people from abject poverty. It is possible for us also to pull the 22 million Kenyans who live in poverty today, abject poverty. We can pull them upwards and create a first world economy in one generation. The first thing we do is to modernize our agriculture. We stop relying on rainfall and clouds. We stop depending on clouds to survive. And the president has said we need water harvesting. That's how you transform and modernize agriculture. 50 mega dams, 200 mini dams, and over 1,000 smaller dams. The 200 are the mid-sized dams, and the smaller dams are over 1,050 mega dams. The size of Dwake, those big dams like High Grand Falls and others. Then we harvest water, transform our agriculture, add value, and make sure that we create wealth and create jobs in the agricultural sector, but water is critical. Number two, we need to increase our power so that we can have enough energy for our industries. We are now at 3,000 megawatts. We want to create another 7,000 megawatts to have 10,000 megawatts of power. And finally, we will need also to be able to move forward, have enough resources to do modern infrastructure, roads, railway, seaports, and also airports. That's why we must build a new airport, and the president is already seized of the matter, and I know in the next 1-2 months, we'll break ground and build a new airport. That is why the president in 2 months will be launching the extension of the railway line from Naivasha, through Narok, through Bomet, through Nyamira, through Kisumu, into Malaba, and into Uganda. That is why, after we do Rironi Mau Summit, the president will lead us again to extend that road in 2 ways. One way through Eldoret to Bungoma and Malaba, another way through Kericho, Kisumu, into Malaba. Rais ni fire, si fire. That is why we are modernizing the Kenya Ports Authority in Mombasa. I've spoken to KPA this morning. Soon the president will go there to ground break for a modernization program for Mombasa Port. And we are going to get 41 billion shillings through innovative funding models to modernize the Port of Mombasa. So seaports, airports, railway, roads, and energy, and agriculture. If we do that, Kenya will move from the third world to the first world in a generation. Rais, mimi unikubalie niwachie hapo. Hii story ni mrefu. And I wonder, the people who are saying we have not implemented our commitments, I don't know in which country they live. But because today is not the day to respond to those characters, tutakutana nao huko. Juzi wataona ile waliona siku ile ya Mbeere North. Mnaona siku hizi kiburi imepungua pale Mbeere North, walinyolewa na Wamuthende, walinyolewa na Kalinda, walinyolewa niseme nisiseme. Allow me to call 3 other interveners so that we don't take too long. The 2 leaders of majority will have a maximum of 10 minutes each, just to tell us how the 2 houses of parliament have respectively supported the executive to deliver, so that nobody leaves here thinking that it is only the president to take credit or only the executive. All of us have done something. And after they finish, I'll call them in quick succession. Finally, Governor Ses Mbarire, who is the chairperson, the national chairperson of UDA, will come and tell us, also in 10 minutes, what our county governments, both our governors and our county assemblies, have done to partner with the national government to realize the successes that we are talking about here today, so that we live here as one family, knowing that everybody, from the MCA to the senator, to the member of the National Assembly, to the governor, to the president, everybody has contributed to the successes we have achieved so far. UDA ni fire, si fire. Ni noma, si noma. Wacha nione mbwekse ya rais, mbwekse ya rais, mbwekse ya rais. Kuja wewe Aaron. Wapi makofi ya Aaron Cheruiyot, leader of majority?
Thank you. DP ni noma, si noma. Wapi makofi ya Deputy President wetu? Your Excellency, the President, the Deputy, and all the leaders that are gathered here, listening to that presentation, and particularly coming at this time when we are presenting from the legislative side, we celebrate, first of all, just immediately coming after you, DP, a very important, this is on a light note. It is not part of our assignment, but listening to you, Deputy President, we celebrate the decision of Parliament on the 17th of October 2024. Because we were conversing there with the Chungu and you were saying, what if? I don't want to say beyond that. So even us as Parliament, we have delivered in so many other ways. Your Excellency, I'll present the report of the Senate. First of all, I appreciate that the UDA party, Your Excellency, in the Senate we have 22 elected senators, 22 out of 47. That is a record. 22 out of 47 elected senators and 9 out of 20 nominated. Meaning, you know, sometimes I hear people claim that they are the largest party. We don't claim, we actually are. Because the party that comes second to that has only 16. So there's a huge difference between us and them. And I want to believe that going into the next election, we will grow that number even beyond 22, so that we are able to transact business and do the transformational work that we need to do as a legislature. I want to appreciate the support that we have received from the executive side. We have done our part also. The call of leadership is to rise to the challenges of the day. And many times, we at the legislature, when we receive legislative proposals from the executive, we take our time and share our thoughts, infuse that which we feel will work better for the country, and finally send it over to the president for assent, and it becomes law. And many times, we do that fully aware that we went to the campaigns together, you led us as a team, and there are promises that we made to the people of Kenya, which we in Parliament work hard to ensure that we implement. You know, Parliament as an institution, I was trying to imagine, there is no other institution that gets as much flack and battered from the cynics that are in plenty in this country, that we sometimes just sing to the tune of the executive, we do things that are not progressive, and it is possible for somebody who doesn't follow through to understand and see how our work as parliamentarian knits together with the work of the executive to achieve the common vision that we are trying to attain together as a team. I stand here to report to the council today that as Parliament, we have done our bit as well. I think through each of the items that the DP has spoken to, and I see all the work that the various members of the committees that are here did, moving around the country in public participation, arguing in our committee halls, finally debating in the committee, in the chambers of the parliament, before eventually concluding on the work to send it here for assent. I imagine, Your Excellency, how each of the work that we have done has transformed the lives of the people that voted for us to be members of parliament. And I sleep proudly as leader of majority alongside my colleagues, knowing that though many other people may not appreciate, and sometimes people say not very nice things about us as members of parliament, I know that we have been part and parcel of this team, and we have done things that have helped the Kenya Kwanza administration attain the record of the score that you're hearing this morning. The DP has spoken about the health, universal health coverage, and I must appreciate Parliament because we passed the 4 health laws: the digital health law, facility improvement fee fund, the primary health care, and the Social Health Authority Act. At that particular point, I want to appreciate, I know we have members of the County Assembly from Turkana County. We actually passed those 4 laws at the chamber of Turkana County Assembly while we were doing Senate Mashinani. And they have the signature of Turkana because Turkana is one of the counties that a lot of work needs to be done, Your Excellency. Yesterday, just yesterday, we were with the Deputy President in one of the most rural facilities in the county where I come from. And the chairperson of that health dispensary actually reported in the meeting that we were in that just last month, that facility had received from the Social Health Authority a compensation of 1.3 million Kenya shillings, something that has never happened previously. So somebody may sit and wonder, so where does SHA sit alongside all these things? It is the ability to improve our health centers, right from the dispensary up to the level 6 facilities, through those laws that were carefully drafted and passed in Parliament, that we as parliamentarians sit here today and appreciate and say we made our contribution into making Kenya a great republic. I celebrate you, our colleagues, members of Parliament, for the work that you did. The agriculture sector that the Deputy President spoke about here, Your Excellency, there is still work to be done. But today, as we sit here, I know by 2022, when we came, almost all the 3 major cash crops, for example, which is sugar, coffee, and tea, they needed significant adjustment of the laws that were governing that sector. We have concluded the one for sugar. I know Kimani loves saying that the one for coffee has delayed in the Senate, but I'll be quick to add also that the one for tea is in the Assembly. So we need to conclude on those 2. But as it is, Your Excellency, I represent, this is from a personal experience. In the county that I represent in the Senate, we have both sugarcane, coffee, and tea farmers. Because of the transformation that the DP was speaking about, today, back in the day, if you went to a particular town where all the 3 farmers interact, you could easily tell who is the sugarcane farmer because they were impoverished, they were in very difficult state. As it is today, the sugarcane farmer actually loans the tea and the coffee farmer. And the coffee farmer is also not badly off. In fact, many times, and I have said this, Kenyans are not very generous with their appreciation of the work that leaders do. But in the last 2 years, in all the public functions that I have been, where coffee farmers are in good number, they actually pick the microphone and say, go and pass our appreciation to the president and the government because of the reforms that have been done in the coffee sector. That doesn't happen very often in our society. You know very well that the people we represent sometimes don't appreciate the work that leaders do, but they appreciate because they know what has been done. There is still work to do in the in the tea sector, Your Excellency, and that we shall do because we know we still have sufficient time and the things that we need to do. Quickly, moving on, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on the things that we have done on that particular front. At the level of the county assemblies, and we must celebrate also UDA as a party. I just checked and I confirmed also, though I didn't check this morning like you, Your Excellency. I realized you checked everything this morning. I know for a fact that UDA also has the largest control of 22 out of 47 county assemblies. We have majority leadership of 22 out of 47 county assemblies in this country. And I know one of the requests that you made here in a previous meeting with the members of the county assembly is to grant financial autonomy to our county assemblies. I am proud many MCAs spoke in that meeting that day, Your Excellency, and they said they find it not proper that they sometimes have to go before the executive of county governments where they have disagreed to beg even for funds for operations. And you did direct that morning and said, Majority Leader, if you still want to keep your job, that situation needs to stop. I am glad to report to this council this morning that that now is a thing of the past, Your Excellency, and we celebrate the work that has been done in that particular regard. Thirdly, I am giving the report on behalf of the Senate. That's the part that I have to do. Overall, listen, my friend, you will get the opportunity during plenary. But just to explain to you, once we do our work as Senate, we send it over to the Assembly for them to conclude on it. There is very little that I can do. You know, unfortunately, much as I am leader of majority, I only lead one house. I don't lead both, and I can't control legislation in the other side of the house. That's why Kimani will come next to give their report. We have concluded on that, Parliament. The pension that you receive is based on what you contributed during your time as a member of Parliament. It is our proposal, and this is something, because eventually we will do an exit report of this session of leadership, that to stop this push and pull, because Treasury have been quite clear with us that they want to stop this business of pension by contribution of other Kenyans and moving it to 100% contributory, just like it is for Parliament. It is a policy position which we need to take, and once it's adopted, we will agree so that at the beginning of a term of a legislative arm, either Parliament or the County Assembly, or even for governors, because Governor Waiguru also keeps on pressing us about this because of their colleague governors, that once this decision is made that we go contributory 100%, that will be the direction, and we will implement that needs to be done. The final thing that I want to say on that particular regard is that we have, Your Excellency, challenges of party leadership in our legislative units, the County Assembly. And I remember at one time, you did direct that we need to make a decision. And perhaps during the plenary session today, Your Excellency, because you did guide that this is going to be a consultative meeting, it will be important that we make a decision on how party leadership is attained in our county assemblies. Because the Secretary General will report to you that almost on a weekly, if not monthly basis, there are disputes that arise from county assemblies. And it is the feeling of most members that sometimes, due to their proximity, of course, to national leaders, there is control from the county government to a level that is not effective on the executive side towards the county assembly. That once that decision is made, the political party's amendment that is before Parliament right now, we will put it in law drafted, because as it is today, the parties unilaterally make a decision. But we need to draft it in law so that we make a final decision on how leadership of majority leader, whip, and their deputies is attained at the county assembly, so that we no longer see this business of people coming to vote at the party headquarters. I know it's not an easy decision, but it will be interesting to hear from the members that are here on that particular matter can be resolved. I think, Your Excellency, I have done my 10 minutes. I had two other things that I wanted to say, but I feel I need to respect the fact that you guided us on time. The final thing, I know this is not very easy, Your Excellency, but I have said, I don't know which language to use, that there will be a plenary session. The things that I forget, please raise them during the plenary session. And if you see me avoiding, it's because I don't want to delve into that particular topic, but you have the liberty because this is a council. I want to speak on the issue of shareable revenue, Your Excellency. the Deputy President, you have been a senator before, and you know our perspective on shareable revenue and the dispute that we've always had with our colleagues from the National Assembly on how resources are shared between the two levels of government. While we celebrate that we have moved, actually, it is during the tenure of this administration that we crossed the 400 billion mark. It is the position of the Senate that a lot more still needs to be done. If you see what is being done in our devolved units, you will appreciate, and I know for a fact that we don't have an endless pool of resources, and it's not an easy decision sometimes to decide. But given the balance of power between our House and the National Assembly, I want to argue before you, Your Excellency, today, that in many of the national government projects that are being done today, that there is a correlation between the national and the county governments. After perfecting of the model, it is possible to transfer some of those functions to counties because our devolved units equally deserve the opportunity to grow and become stable units of administration the way it was decided in our county government. And while I say that, I'm speaking about markets, I'm speaking about some of the housing and some of the rural roads, Your Excellency. I know it's a controversial topic, but that is our position as the Senate. With those many remarks, I beg to submit. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Leader of Majority Makofi. Wacha sasa tumuulize Leader of Majority Kimani Ichung'wah, National Assembly. Aseme jambo ni fire si fire.
UDA ni fire si fire. Asante, Your Excellency, the President, Deputy President, our Prime Cabinet Secretary na viongozi wote, hamjamboni. Mine also I have 10 minutes, and Your Excellency, I will not repeat or bicameral processes that we passed in the National Assembly, and many of them being money bills, they had to emanate from the National Assembly and were completed in the Senate. But Your Excellency, you remember back in 2022, as you told us at the beginning of this session, you did indicate to us that our manifesto, in fact you said, sio gazeti, la kusoma na kufunga nyama. And you said, when we christened it, as we were drafting it, the plan, that it was a call for action, and it was a plan of work to be done. And we did commit in our very first parliamentary group meeting, the joint parliamentary group meeting that we had, the very first one here, that the legislature, both houses of parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate, will be facilitators of this plan, and we shall never be disruptive of the executive in their implementation of the plan. And I must take this early opportunity to thank all members of parliament, those in the National Assembly, and our brothers and sisters in the Senate, because indeed they have been very supportive and become facilitative of the implementation of the plan and not disruptive. And even under very difficult circumstances, Your Excellency, the events of June 2024 with the finance bill of June 2024, the immense misinformation and disinformation that went into that bill, and the consequences of our actions as parliament, many people around the country vilified members of parliament. But the president was very firm. And I remember, Your Excellency, in your State of the Nation address last year, you did indicate that indeed when the history of the transformation of this country is written, parliament and the legislature of the 13th parliament, the legislators that sat in the 13th parliament, will indeed have a paragraph on the story of the transformation of our country. And that transformation, Your Excellency, as my brother Aaron has said, did not just begin with what we committed to Kenyans as we campaigned together on the question of universal health coverage, on the transformation of our agriculture, but moving on now to even what you have called or christened the Singapore dream, or the journey to Singapore. That indeed, Your Excellency, as we put on page 10 of our manifesto, and I had hoped the Secretary General would have shared a copy of our UDA manifesto and the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. Part of what Your Excellency you have been speaking to is the establishment of a National Sovereign Wealth Fund and the National Infrastructure Fund that we actually put in black and white on page 10 of our manifesto. And we say that we shall establish a National Infrastructure Bank. We call it a bank in our manifesto, and that is what we are now calling a fund. And I know there are discussions, Your Excellency, on still how to actually implement that as a fund or as a corporation. And why not, for the support of many of these legislatures here in the National Assembly and in the Senate, we will not be where we are today. We can see light at the end of the tunnel because we know we'll be able to actualize that dream of moving our country from a third world to a first world nation because of the commitment and the dedication of members of parliament who become facilitators of that dream and that plan that we sold together to the people of Kenya. Your Excellency, when last year but one, in 2024, Parliament was heavily criticized and vilified because of the finance bill, you encouraged many of us here on June 25th or 26th when you called us, and together we agreed not to assent to that bill, that with time, Kenyans would come to realize that indeed Parliament was right. And I say that, Your Excellency, because later that year, on the 4th and the 5th of December, and I have said this before, we passed 97% of what was contained in the June finance bill without any incident, Your Excellency, at the end of the year. It is through the passage of those bills, the Business Laws 1 and Business Laws 2, the Tax Amendment Act of 2024, and the Tax Procedures Amendment Act of 2024, that we have been able to realize the immense movement of infrastructural projects, especially around the roads projects. Your Excellency, you remember, right around that time in June, July of 2024, we also amended the RMLF Act that eventually last year we were able to pass a small amendment to that act to help us realize the securitization program that enabled your administration to raise over 175 billion shillings that is helping us to move forward many road contracts that had stalled. And all of you are aware that we had road projects that had stalled in our constituencies, in our wards, from way back as 2015, 2016. And those road contracts today are ongoing, courtesy of the changes that we made to the RMLF Act and securitization of part 5 shillings out of the 25 shillings that is there in RMLF. Your Excellency, the health laws that we passed in 2023 is what Honorable Aaron was speaking to, and the Deputy President has spoken to it, on SHA, or the Social Health Authority, and how that has helped to actualize the dream for universal health coverage. And there are stories of the success of SHA today, Your Excellency, courtesy of the resilience of these members of parliament, MCAs and our governors who have helped us also to roll out and encourage Kenyans to register. That indeed today across the country, Kenyans are not being, we are not pleading as we were pleading before with Kenyans to register in SHA. They are the ones through word of mouth who are encouraging each other to register for SHA to be able to benefit from universal health coverage. Your Excellency, we have also supported in a big way the agricultural sector that and the reforms the Deputy President spoke to, whether it's from the sugar levy, the 4% that we put in 2023, 2024, and also, Your Excellency, in many supplementary and annual appropriations bills, we have ensured that we appropriate resources to all the programs in agriculture, in energy, in roads, that will ensure that we're able to roll out that development program that we have for our country. And I must be very appreciative, Your Excellency, that we have never, as a leadership of the House, had any problem with any of our members. And indeed, we have seen the support of many members of parliament, even being able to speak to those who do not subscribe to our manifesto, to convince them in the passage of the appropriations bills that we do, the finance bills that we have been doing every year, because without the appropriation bills that we pass in the National Assembly, the supplementary appropriations that come to supplement what would otherwise not have been provided in the main appropriations bill, that is what actually rolls out the programs that we are speaking about here today. And we indeed feel part and parcel of the successes of this administration, because, as Aaron has said, we campaign together and we are one team. Your Excellency, I did allude to the infrastructure fund. And I know many of the laws that we have passed have come in to feed this plan that we are speaking about here today. But the most critical that is ahead of us now is the establishment of that National Sovereign Wealth Fund and the National Infrastructure Fund. And Your Excellency, when last year in the State of the Nation address you spoke to Kenyans and spoke of the dream to raise money through privatization of our state-owned enterprises, many people took it as a story, and indeed many pundits in the media said that this is a new narrative, to Singapore. But today, Your Excellency, with the opening of the IPO of Kenya Pipeline and the ongoing process in the privatization of Safaricom, we can actually see it now becoming a reality. That, as you have said before, in the course of this year, we will have raised the first 1 trillion shillings, the first 3 trillion actually, because we will be raising the first 1 trillion shillings in the next month or so. And Your Excellency, we would not be able to realize this had we not passed into law. And I must thank members of Parliament who helped us to repeal and reenact the Privatization Act that established that legal framework that now is enabling the privatization of state-owned enterprises. Again, Your Excellency, through the enactment of the Government-Owned Enterprises Act, which was entered into law at the beginning of December, we will now be able to run our state-owned enterprises or our parastatals in a more efficient way, and in a way that we even put aside now political patronage as we move to a first world nation, because in first world nations, state corporations are not run politically, but are run by boards that are appointed on merit and on the basis of what they can add to the value in those organizations. And Your Excellency, we look forward to the operationalization of this Government-Owned Enterprises Act that will, in a significant way, transform how we manage state-owned enterprises and how they deliver on social obligations or public social obligations to the people of Kenya that have elected all of us. Finally, Your Excellency, on the National Infrastructure Fund, I know it has been lost to many people. How do we raise 1 trillion shillings? And Your Excellency, is good because I'm a student of economics and an accountant. To just take 2 seconds to explain. For instance, the Deputy President spoke to the construction of a new airport. That new airport will probably cost, I don't know how much, maybe about 200 billion shillings. If we were to raise taxes or revenue to finance that project, 200 billion shillings from our taxes, it would mean we go back and increase taxes to Kenyans. And we did commit that we shall no longer continue raising taxes from Kenyans. Equally, the President has told us that he took over an administration that inherited heavy debts, public debt. And we also committed, as we campaigned together, that we shall not burden our country with more debt, more public debt. 200 billion shillings to build an airport would have to go and borrow or raise taxes. But with the sale of the 65% that we are selling of Kenya Pipeline, if you raise 100 billion shillings, it is good to appreciate that even the people you see in the private sector come to invest in very heavy infrastructural projects that require a lot of capital. Many of them do not own the capital that they use to develop those projects. Indeed, what they do is to leverage on the capital they have to be able to raise more money from the financial markets. And that is what this administration intends to do through the National Infrastructure Fund or Corporation, or whatever we will call it, to be able to raise money that you will leverage on to lift those very capital-intensive infrastructure projects like the airport, a new airport. That if you need 200 billion shillings to build a new airport at JKIA, many private sector people will probably just need to raise 25% of that. 25% of 200 billion is 50 billion shillings. Out of the 50 billion shillings, if we invest from the National Infrastructure Fund 25 billion shillings or 26 billion, we will own 50% of the project through equity. Then the project, not the government of Kenya now, but the project that is commercially viable, which can repay itself and generate more revenue and more income to the government of Kenya and be able to repay its own debt. The project then will go and borrow the 75% to be able to finance up to 200 billion after only making an investment of 25 billion shillings. That 25 billion shillings is what we are now raising through the sale of KPC, Safaricom, and many of the other state corporations. And Your Excellency, I just took liberty to explain that because I know we are many here, and it's a good opportunity to educate each other so that we understand. Because you hear a lot of negativity from the naysayers, and what Your Excellency, you called the other day masters of political deceit and intellectual conmanship. And they are there, and there are very many. And many who do not understand where we are going and how we are doing it. And therefore, I want to take this opportunity to call on all of us to educate others, because part of the objectives of this NGC is also to educate each other so that from here, we will get many ambassadors who will take this message home to the villages, to our wards, to our constituencies, and to the people who vote for us and who voted for this administration. Finally, Your Excellency, I know there's an issue that has been raised on bicameral bills that are pending. I do know the one for the financial autonomy for the county assembly, because we have members of our county assemblies here. Let me confirm to this assembly that that bill came from the Senate, we passed it in the National Assembly, and the President assented it into law. It is now an act of parliament. The only small issue that was pending, or that is still pending, is that we did this in the middle of a financial year. And therefore, there was no way of going back in the financial year, because it would mean that we go back, redo our division of revenue, the CARA bills in the Senate, go back to the county assemblies, you redo your budgets, and therefore I am hopeful that beginning this financial year of 2026-2027, that begins in June, county assemblies will have the financial autonomy that they sought. 2 is on pensions, both for governors and members of the county assemblies. Those bills are still pending. We are waiting for some consultation with the National Treasury, and more so because Governor Igoro has been asking me about this every day, on the impact of that pension bill on the division of revenue, the shareable revenue, whether it will come from the national government or from the share of the county assemblies. We are still consulting with the National Treasury to be able to guide us on that, and the same for the county assemblies, so that eventually we will have county assemblies and governors who also have a pension scheme that is contributory and that will help them post-retirement. With that, Your Excellency, I think I can also stop there. If there are any other issues that we have left out, we can handle them in plenary. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Makofi kwa Leader of Majority. My sister Cecily Barire, make it brief. I know you are normally very brief. And then before she takes over the podium, after Cecily Barire, I'll ask the chair of the MCS caucus, I'll give him 5 minutes so that we can be represented, all of us, to say something in 5 minutes. Please make it brief. Says Mbarira, fire, say fire.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the party leader, all protocols observed. I'm here to make a presentation on behalf of the Council of Governors on what it is the county governments have done towards implementation of the plan. And I think a lot of it has already been talked to by the fireman himself. And so, Your Excellency, unlike the fireman, allow me to refer to my notes once in a while as we ensure we give the right figures. Sir, you have all heard that the universal health coverage can only happen through the county governments because health is devolved. And so after the National Assembly and the Senate passed the Health Act, we had to come up to enact the Facility Improvement Fund, FIF, and so 42 counties have enacted the FIF, and 5 at advanced stage of enactment, and this has truly helped us in making sure that we implement the universal health coverage as per the plan. Further, we have partnered with the national government in ensuring that we have the 107,831 community health promoters who we pay half of the stipend, and we want to appreciate the role that the MCAs have played at the county assemblies in ensuring that we continue to give enough resources to keep these great people, the CHPs, in the field every day. So we also want to appreciate that the national government continues to keep the CHPs also paid from the national government, and that we are able to ensure that they have their kits fully equipped to be able to do their work. On SHA, Your Excellency, I'm happy to report that together with the county government and national government, we've been able to register 28.34 million Kenyans across all the counties, and we want to continue to ensure that more and more are registered on a day-to-day. Many counties in our 16,500 facilities are in a continuous registration of the members of SHA, and we are happy with the development. Cumulatively, our county public health facilities have submitted claims totaling to 28.78 billion, Your Excellency, out of which, and it's important that people hear this, 28.7 billion claims from our county health facilities, and out of that 16.79 billion, which is 60%, has actually been paid. We are asking, and out of that, about 2.7 of the balance has been rejected, but we are asking, and out of the 2.7, 1.9 has been resubmitted after doing what needed to be done. So we are asking, Your Excellency, that the balance amount of our claims be paid out so that we can continue to offer services. Sir, another area that has really been a big success is provision of maternity services. And this I'm saying because there was the belief that what was there was more superior than what we have now. But I want to say that we are now having more mothers benefiting from SHA maternity services. And in the last summit, we were able to include level 2 facilities into the reimbursement of SHA, because before, if a mother delivered in level 2, SHA was not reimbursing, but we are now happy it's happening, which means more mothers are benefiting. On the National Equipment Service Program, NESP, you remember before we had what was called the Medical Equipment Program, and that program was a very, very big failure. Why was it a failure? It was a failure because, one, the county governments were made to pay a lot of money for this equipment, and when it came to maintenance, there was always a push and pull between us and the service providers and the vendors to make sure that these equipments were working. Your Excellency, we want to thank you because through the National Equipment Support Program, currently 40 counties in 121 county facilities and 6 level 6 facilities are benefiting from this program with 6.1 billion Kenya shillings worth of equipment. Also, 75 equipments are being installed in various county facilities across the country, and the program has offered over 232,000 services since its inception in March 2025. A total of 80 officers from all the counties have been trained on the funds flow model virtually. We are happy that SHA has cleared invoices in 16 facilities and 3 lots amounting to over 346 million have been released. Under urban infrastructure, we do have a program called the Kenya Urban Support Program that is funded by the World Bank, and under it we have done 202 kilometers of urban roads, 171 kilometers on non-motorized transport infrastructure, 5,250 parking spaces, and 192 kilometers of storm water drains, and 31 kilometers of sewer lines. This we work closely with the national government. And also we have the Kenya Informal Settlement Improvement Program in 37 counties that is working towards ensuring that 95 settlements are upgraded in terms of infrastructure. In agriculture, Your Excellency, we are happy to report that we continue to provide the last mile distribution of fertilizer to our farmers, and we are happy with the partnership that we are having. We would like to request that this fertilizer, a lot of the farmers want to get it through their cooperative societies, and there's need to relook at the entire architecture of how that fertilizer is distributed so that we can be able to distribute it through the coffee, tea, cooperatives that are there on the ground. In terms of dairy, out of the coolers that we've been told that have been distributed, we are happy that the county governments have worked closely with the national government to ensure that these coolers get to the farmers. We are happy with the progress so far, but we are requesting that you continue to give us more coolers because the demand is getting higher and higher as we move on. As the county governments will continue to ensure that the cooperative societies are well trained, they are strong enough, and that there are facilities where these coolers can be installed. As was said by the Deputy President, a lot of our farmers are now digitally able to get information, advisories, and be registered so that they can be able to get the fertilizer. We have about 1,925 agripreneurs recruited with zone mapping and business accelerator onboarding completed. these agripreneurs are really helping with extension services. About 28 officers have also been trained in livestock management, 60 county staff sensitized on sustainable feeds, 39 vet doctors, directors sensitized, and over 160,000 animals vaccinated under the e-voucher program. We also want to say that we've worked closely with the national government in terms of market infrastructure. There are over 400 plus markets that are going on right now in the county are being done in collaboration with the county governments. We are providing the land and the management of those markets once they are complete. We appreciate that. Over 860 circles have been mapped out across the counties, one circle per ward, especially in the counties that are benefiting from the NAF CDP. County governments have successfully vaccinated 10.1 million animals and conducted 369,000 AI and distributed 1.6 million chicks. In trade, I did mention the markets, but let me talk about the CAIPs, the County Aggregation and Industrial Parks. Already 35 counties have commenced the construction. Most of the CAIPs are at advanced to mid-level stages across the participating county governments, the 35 of them. And I want to say that we are proud to say quite a number are almost in completion, with Meru leading at 99.3% completion, followed closely by Embu at 88%, Garissa 88%, Kirinyaga 86%, Migori 85%, Wajir 80%, Kisii 80%, Busia 79.2%, Machakos 74%, Kwale 69%. We want to thank His Excellency the Deputy President, who has provided leadership in ensuring that the first 11 counties will be able to be operationalized between mid-year 2026 to end of 2026. There's some moderate progress also happening in various other counties. Homa Bay, Bungoma, Uasin Gishu, Kakamega, etc. And we are very, very grateful. We have also, each country has been able to look at, identify their value chains and come up with an implementation plan. And that is work we are doing very closely with the county, with the national government. In the area of blue economy that I think you all had, there's a lot of work going on. Counties have distributed about 760,000 kilograms of fish feed to farmers and constructed 12 new fish markets across 10 counties. Additionally, 22 beach management units registered as cooperative societies that have been established, especially in the 7 coastal region counties. On education, Your Excellency, we have enrolled in pre-primary education levels 1 and 2, and we have been able to increase our numbers from 2.9 million compared to 2.8 million in the previous year. And we have, for the first time, developed scheme of service for our pre-primary education teachers. We have also employed 79,864 teachers across the different counties. Our main concern though, sir, and I think we mentioned it at the summit, is counties have bursaries but are unable to disburse the same because of the challenge we are having with the controller of budget. We kindly request that you consider helping us to be able to handle that matter so that we can unlock this big problem. For now, we are completely unable to give the bursaries. As I come to the end, I want to request We are happy, Your Excellency, that the two National Assembly and the Senate did pass the law that allowed for the independence of our county assemblies. And I want to say, as a Council of Governors, we were in full support of that. We feel it is the best way forward. But we want to request in the NADCO report, Your Excellency, other than pensions, there was also a request to institutionalize the ward fund, just like the national government, the CDF fund and the GAF. So we are requesting that this be expedited so that these MCAs can continue to do the great work they are doing through their ward fund. Your Excellency, they are saying if you do this, you'll have your 2 and even 4 term, if it's possible. Thank you very much. It's a very, very weighty issue, and we fully support it. Your Excellency, as I add, I want to say this, and here now allow me to just say one word as the chair of the UDA party. You'll all agree with me. You'll all agree with me that the amount of work that has been done by this government is more than any of us even used to imagine had happened. And so this National Governing Council gives us an opportunity to live here knowing what has happened and to get the right messaging when we go to our villages, to our counties, to our wards and our constituencies. Your Excellency, I wish to tell you this, sir. I can see Dennis Itumbe is talking. I want to tell something to our party leader. Sir, we believed in you when we made you president in 2022. And today, more than any other time, we believe in you more. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you for the great work you have done. You are full of energy. You're a man who works tirelessly for this nation. And for us as a team, we want to confirm to you that we support you 100%. In the midst of all the noise that has happened, especially in the last 2 years, we can see the amount of work you've done. We can see your vision is finally coming to fruition. The story of Singapore is no longer a dream. It is going to be a reality in this country called Kenya. And so as you continue, may we congratulate him because he's the most courageous leader I have seen in my entire political career. Courage to be able to make political and policy decisions that he knows will help the country in the future, even if in the short term it is unpopular. Shah was the most unpopular. Isn't that the truth? But today, just talk to all of us here. We have less Harambes to go to. And even when we are called to these Harambes, we have less money to contribute because Shah is working. So I want us to all confirm to our president that going forward, we will do what we must do to make sure we get our second term. And that, Your Excellency, when you're coming on the ground, even the PSs, the CSs, if they are coming to a particular county, a particular constituency, a particular ward, and you have members who support the government in those places, please let us know, because we want to be there to scream loud the work you're doing for us. And finally, let me appreciate your deputy president. The fireman himself. First of all, I keep telling you that fire and Norma and Bwekse gave us fresh impetus. And we want to thank you because we've seen you crisscross the entire country talking about government programs and projects without fear and with clarity. And today we have confirmed as you stood here that, Your Excellency, this was the best decision you ever made. And so, we will continue to support you, Your Excellency, the Deputy President. And please continue to ensure there's fire across the entire country. Continue to give the President the much needed support that he had lacked for 2 years. And Your Excellency, Paul, for what happened for 2 years, we didn't know you are suffering in silence until this guy came. So we are happy that you are making it. And you're doing a great job, Mr. Fireman. Kindiki ni fire, si fire. You have the support of the entire leadership of UDA and the affiliate parties. Thank you very much. May God bless you. Long live William Samoei. Asante.
As the President will guide us to conclude this very long but important agenda. Endelea tafadhali. Hata wewe ni fire.
Asante. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the President and our party leader, William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Prime Cabinet Secretary, our top party leadership, colleague members, Excellencies, the governors and deputy governors, members of parliament.
Harambe! UDA! Kazi ni kazi! Kazi ni kazi! Hapo sana.
By heartily congratulating you and thanking you very much, Your Excellency. You know, of all political parties in the Republic of Kenya, it's the UDA which have the highest number of MCAs in its top making organ, the neck. We are 6 of us, Your Excellency. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, I want to thank you because, as has been said here, already you have signed the autonomy bill into law. Now, we want to beg you, and I say this on behalf of my colleague MCAs. We don't want, when our party leader, when the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, when he has signed something into law, implementation remains the key word, and it should be implemented as fast as possible. Your Excellency, these colleague MCAs, they've requested during the past, and they still insist every time we are conversing, they say when they talk about World Development Fund, it's not money that goes to their pockets, but money that goes to the citizenry in their wards. Your Excellency, because our MCAs ndio jeshi yako ya ground. Sisi, we are not demanding, Your Excellency. You are our boss. We are humbly requesting, ikiwezekana, hawa jeshi yako ya mashinani, they see World Fund kabla tufike kukukampenia huko mbele. Your Excellency, mambo ya basali imetajwa hapa. Sisi kama jeshi yako ya mashinani, ni vizuri tukujulishe, na komptura wetu pia asikie hili. Hii pesa ya basali, saa hii, kuna watoto wanapata matatizo huko chini. Kwa hivyo hiyo pesa ya basali nayo irudishwe, county ziruhusiwe, basali ipeanwe pale kwa ward. Your Excellency, nikienda kumalizia, kuna hii mambo ya
empowerment imekuwa hapa na pale na wajumbe wetu. Ikiwezekana jeshi yako ya MCAs wanataka kupeleka empowerment kwa ward zetu, ndio wakipeleka pale wanasema William Ruto ni 2 term. Na hata kuna wengine wameanza wanasema Professor Kidiki ni 4 term. Hiyo yote jeshi yako iko tayari kufanya. Nikimalizia, we thank you very much. You know, Your Excellency, you rightly keep observing you have a deputy who is a professor. And the professor is the person in charge of devolution. I want to finish by quoting 2 of his statements. Number 1, tukiwa kule Bele, because your election campaign, Mr. President, will be built on this. Your deputy, Judy alikuwa anatuongoza, akasema, nenda kumwiratiriri, tugathura wa muthende, wa muthende, wa muthende. Na wa muthende akapita, Your Excellency. Ya pili, nikimalizia, akasema, wewe Goliathu, siku ya Alhamisi tutakumalizia. Na hata siku ya leo tunasema hivi, wewe Goliathu, umetusi rais wetu sana. Umemuita Kasongo. Mwaka ujao tunaonana na wewe. Ukatusi deputy president wetu. Ukamuita Soprano wewe. Na huyu ni professor. Huyu ni professor. Next year, wewe Goliathu, tunakuangusha chini. William Ruto ni 2 term. Asanteni sana.
Oh, la, la. Fire, see fire. Mimi naomba, because what I want to do now, so that we make progress, His Excellency the President will come and summarize for us this agenda, and also we make a resolution. And the other 2 agendas are shorter. This was the longer one, but it was the most important because it was about our scorecard, our work as a party and as a government. So I want, before I call the President, please stand up and stretch out kidogo. UDA ni fire, si fire. Nikisema UDA, munasema UDA. Kazi ni kazi. Kazi ni kazi. Rais ni fire, si fire.
Aya, tafadhali tunaweza keti. Huyo deputy wangu ni fire, si fire. Wamesema ni fire sana. Basi, naamini ya kwamba sisi zote tumesikiza kwa makini scorecard ya serikali ambayo imeundwa na chama yetu ya UDA na marafiki zetu. Na kabla sijaendelea, kati yetu tuko na marafiki ambao wametembea na sisi hii safari. Wameungana na sisi katika kuunda serikali ya Kenya Kwanza. Hata wale hatukuungana na wao katika serikali ya Kenya Kwanza, baada ya uchaguzi wamekuja na tumeshirikiana na sisi, na kufaulu kwetu pia wamechangia sehemu kubwa. Tuwapigie makofi jameni. Tuko hapa na wanachama wa chama ya Ford Kenya, wapigie makofi. Are they here? Wanaweza kusimama? Some of them are there. Tuwapigie makofi. Thank you very much. Tuko hapa na wanachama wa chama cha Chap Chap wako kati yetu, tuwapigie makofi. Hapa tuko na wanachama wa chama ya Jubilee ambao wameshirikiana pamoja na sisi, tuwapigie makofi. Asanteni sana waheshimiwa. Tuko hapa na wanachama wa CCK, sijui kama wako humu ndani, kule nyuma, wapigie makofi. Tuko hapa na wanachama wa UDM, walimeungana na sisi. Tuko na Gavana Mahmud hapa na viongozi wengine kule nyuma. Asanteni sana. Sijui kama kuna chama ingine nimesahau. Tuko na Wiper. Wale wamekuwa katika chama cha Wiper wako hapa, wapigie makofi. Ile ya tujibebe, wale wa tujibebe wako hapa, wapigie makofi. Tuko na chama ingine, chama Kenya United Party ya Lonyengapuo wameungana na sisi. Tuko na chama ilikuwa ya Isaac Ruto, chama ya CCM, pigeni makofi, wako hapa, asanteni sana. Tuko na ODM, tutasema maneno ya ODM baadaye. Tuko na chama ya KANU, na watu wa KANU wako hapa. Wapi watu ya KANU wasimame? Chama yetu ya zamani, karibu sana, asanteni sana. Tuko na chama ya DP, yuko hapa Bwana Mondigi, asante sana. Na tuko na watu walichaguliwa kwa independent, wasimame. Hawa wote, lakini sasa hawa wote ni jeshi yetu. Na tunasema asanteni sana kwa kuungana na sisi. Sisi tunasema karibuni, tutatembea pamoja na nyinyi, kuunganisha Kenya na kuunganisha Wakenya wote. Mimi nataka nichukue nafasi hii in a very special way kurecognize ndugu yetu Musalia Mudavadi na chama ya ANC. Former members of ANC wasimame tuone jameni. Hawa sasa wanachama walikuwa wa ANC, sasa ni wanachama wa UDA. Tuwapigie makofi. Asanteni sana. Na mwisho kabisa, mimi nataka tukubaliane hapa ya kwamba tumesikia kwa kirefu implementation, vile tumetekeleza manifesto ya Kenya Kwanza. Si ni kweli? Tumesikia kutoka kwa profesa. Huyu profesa, hata kwa maoni yenu, anaelewa hiyo kazi ama haelewi? Si ametueleza vizuri vile tumesonga mbele na manifesto ya chama na vile tumetekeleza. Unajua Kenya hii kuna watu wa porojo mingi, propaganda mingi, kule kwa social media imejaa fitina, hakuna kazi imefanyika, wale walituambia uongo. Lakini tunasimama hapa leo ili wale wanasema ya kwamba tuliwaambia Wakenya uongo waaibike. Leo tunasimama hapa, scorecard yetu inaonyesha wazi ya kwamba yale makubaliano tulikubaliana na Wakenya, manifesto Wakenya milioni 7.2 walipigia kura, imetekelezwa almost 80%. Maneno ya uchumi ni vile profesa ametueleza. Uchumi ya Kenya sasa iko imara. Maneno ya kilimo, tumesukuma kilimo sasa inaeleweka wazi. Hata tukizungumza hapa leo, tayari tuko na magunia milioni 8 ya mbolea ya msimu wa long range, ambayo tayari almost 3 million bags iko katika stores zetu. Wakulima wanaweza kuanza kupanda from now mpaka April. Last year tulitumia magunia 10.1 million bags of fertilizer last year. This year we are estimating 12.5 million bags of fertilizer, and already 3 million bags are in our stores. Another 3 million bags are already in Mombasa on its way to the stores, and we plan to use 8 million bags in the long range between now and April, May this year. So our commitment to making sure that we transform Kenya is solid, and it is on a solid foundation. Vile profesa ametueleza mambo ya ufugaji, hata ile sex cement ilikuwa shilingi 8,000. Today sex cement for our dairy is 1,400 shillings from 8,000. And that is why Kenya has moved from producing 4.6 billion liters of milk to 5.2 billion liters of milk today, Kenya is now the largest milk producer in Africa. And that is a fact. And it is because of the interventions we have done in that sector. And we can say everything else on education. We have transformed education in a very fundamental way. We have sorted out the problems that we have with CBC. We have sorted out the teacher shortage. We have sorted out the infrastructure shortage. 21 universities have been declared insolvent. Today, because of the new funding model, our university education, our TVET education is on sound footing. Ask any vice chancellor, ask any principal of a TVET institution. That transformation is going on. When we go to all the other fields that have been explained to us, we can confidently say that we have been faithful to the implementation of the agenda upon which the people of Kenya had voted for this administration. And we are ready to face our competitors with our scorecard and ask them what they can do better than what we have done. That is the competition we want to have with our competitors. We do not want to compete on the basis of insults. We do not want to compete on the basis of all the other things that they are engaged in. We want to compete on the basis of transformation of our nation. Who has better ideas, who have a better scorecard, and who have a better plan for the future of the nation. And that is why, as I stand here, I want to encourage you, as leaders of UDA, part of the problem we have had is that we have had too much negativity. The reason why is that we have had too much negativity. The reason why Professor has taken time, together with Seth and Kimani and Aaron, have taken time to explain to us. And the reason why you have a pamphlet, kila mtu wako na pamphlet hapa saizi, on the scorecard of the party, so that you can stand on any forum and explain to the people of Kenya where we were, where we are, and where we are going. Si kila mtu sasa hako na manifesto, hako na scorecard ya chama. Because we do not want to come to any constituency or any ward, and we are struggling to tell the people what this administration has done. You allow people with propaganda na watu tu wa fitina waeleze wananchi hakuna kazi imefanyika. Today, as I talk to you, the roads that had stalled, nyinyi mnajua, when we came into office, most contractors had left sites. Majority of the contractors had left sites. Lakini leo, all the contractors are back. All of them. Kama kuna mahali, maybe 5% ndio bado. Lakini 95% of the contractors are on site. They are working. And I want to confirm to you, we raised 175 billion. We are raising another 120 billion to make sure that all our contractors are on site until we complete the 6,000 kilometers of road that is going on in Kenya today. Hiyo program inaendelea. Program ya kwa mfano, nimeona dada yangu wa Mushomba yuko hapa. Pigeni makofi. We had a big problem with Mau Mau roads. Si ni kweli? And that was the quarrel wa Mushomba had with me. Maneno ya Mau Mau roads. And I want to say, when we came into office, only 20% of Mau Mau roads, only 20% of Mau Mau roads had gone on. About 600 kilometers of Mau Mau roads, only 20% had been done. Today, most of those roads are either 50, 60, 70% complete. And all contractors are on site. This year alone, we have allocated 2 billion shillings for Mau Mau roads. And we want to make sure we complete all the Mau Mau roads before 2027, so that we make sure that we can keep our promise to the people of Kenya as we spread road infrastructure across the Republic of Kenya. Tuko pamoja jameni? There was no way we were going to do all this when our economy was in tatters. And that is why we took time to consolidate our economy, to make sure that we make the right decision so that we can stand on a firm footing to drive our development agenda. And let me complete by saying the following. Now that we have a great scorecard that we are undertaking, most of the programs have been rolled into place. We now have a plan for the future because we need continuity. And because we have a plan for the future, you have heard us say that we now have a clear plan on how we are going to move our country to the first world. And we also are not just talking about a plan. We also know how to finance that plan. Because the problem with Kenya is not the absence of plans, is not the public, is not even money. It is the knowledge to understand how to craft innovative mechanisms of implementing and executing a plan. And that is what we have developed. We have an innovative plan on how to build roads. We have an innovative plan on how to drive our agenda into the future. And that is why we have said three things. Number one, for Kenya to move to the first world, we must generate at least 10,000 megawatts of additional energy. Today, sikizeni ndugu zangu, today in Kenya, we have 3,300 megawatts of energy. 3,300 since independence. I went to Ethiopia this last year, about 3-4 months ago. We went to launch what is called the Gad Dam. In that dam, one dam, they are producing 5,400 megawatts. One dam. The whole of Kenya is 3,300. Munaona iko shida ama hakuna shida? Na ni shida hiyo ni kidogo ama ni kubwa? Shida hiyo ni kubwa sana. Sisi tunaelewana? And you know, we cannot drive our transformation if we do not have the energy to drive it. That is why we need to generate more energy. We cannot commit ourselves to industrialization if we do not generate energy. To generate that energy, we need between 10 and 12 billion dollars. That's about 1.5 trillion Kenya shillings. And do not worry, we will get the 1.5 trillion shillings. Tuko na njia ya kupata hiyo pesa. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that is the way we want to go. Let me give you an example. When I was invited to go to the United States by President Joe Biden, we signed an agreement between Kenya, Microsoft of America, and G42 of UAE to do data centers. Because that's the future. Technology is the future. And because we have green energy, America and UAE said Kenya is the right place so that we can use geothermal energy to drive our data centers. So tukaweka kidole ile kitu, tumefurahi sana. Mimi nimekuja hapa, nimetangaza maneno mzuri kabisa tu. Hii project ni ya karibu 1.2 billion dollars. Sasa kufanya assessment tukaambiwa data center moja inahitaji 1,000 megawatts of energy. Kenya mzima iko 3,000. Yani kuimplement hiyo data center moja, we have to shut down a third of the country. Sasa hiyo kitu ikakwama. Nyinyi mnanielewa? So going into the future, we cannot move Kenya forward unless we generate energy. And I want to tell you, we have enough energy. We have almost 10,000 megawatts in geothermal alone. We have 20,000 megawatts of energy in wind energy. We have enough reserves to generate sufficient energy to drive our industrialization, our manufacturing, and our technology progression. Tunaelewana? That is why we have said, as a country, in the next 5 to 7 years, we must generate 10,000 megawatts of energy, and we must have the resources to do it. Number two, we have also said, for us to move Kenya to the next level, we must stop living on the edge. It is a big shame that 60-something years after independence, we are still importing food into Kenya. For your information, we still import 500 billion of food into Kenya. Mahindi, tuna import. Wheat, we import. Rice, we are importing. Edible oil, we are importing. I don't know what we are importing. It's a big shame. And that is why we have said we need to transform our agriculture. The biggest potential we have today in agriculture is in our arid and semi-arid areas. That is the place where we have the most land. Galana Kulalu is an example. Many of the other areas is an example. That's why we have said we must build 50 mega dams, 200 medium-sized dams, and close to 1,000 other micro dams. Why? So that we can bring 2.5 million acres, additional million acres, into production. With 2.5 million acres under irrigation and modern infrastructure, we will not only stop importing food, because, and you know, if we stop importing food, we immediately, save 500 billion shillings we used to import food into Kenya. And number two, we can now export more into the world, into the region, and globally. That is why we are undertaking that we are going to do this, and we want to begin that process. We have dams that have been in our books forever. It is time to actualize those dams. And then number three, we have said we cannot develop Kenya without infrastructure. We must have roads, we must have a railway, we must have an airport, we must develop our seaports. And we have the mechanism to do it. That is why we have mapped out, as I talk to you, we are mapping out an extra 28,000 kilometers. We want to make sure that we connect Kenya. We are mapping out 2,500 kilometers of dual carriageway. And we are mapping out a new airport and the new airport, for your information, will begin before June this year, here in Nairobi. Tunaelewana? We want to modernize our seaports. The whole of that plan will require another 3 enablers, which I want to tell you. Number one, education. We must fund education properly. And we must put more money in science, research, and technology. And that is why we are saying we are moving our budget to 2% of GDP for us to be able to have the highest quality of professional human capital that is going to support our journey into the first world. That is what other countries did. Number two, we must secure our country. We must make sure that there is security in every part of the Republic of Kenya. That is why we are investing resources in securing the country. And we are going to work together with you. How are we going to finance this project? We have told you this project is going to cost 5 trillion Kenya shillings. Unasikia? It's going to cost how much? 5 trillion. Na hiyo kitu hiyo ni pesa tutapata. Don't relax. Hii pesa iko. Yes. Wakati tulisema tutafanya affordable housing, si watu walitupiga makelele. Zakayo sijui nini. Leo contracts we have signed for affordable housing is 600 billion shillings of contracts in affordable housing in our markets and in our hostels. Kama ni pesa 600 billion tungeenda kukopa kwa IMF, tungekaa huko 10 years. Tukipiga magoti, simama, pinduka, enda pande hii. Lakini this is our own money. Nyinyi mnanielewa? So, this 5 trillion, watu wanasema hii ni wazimu. Well, inakaa kama wazimu. Lakini, we are going to deliver on it. How are we going to finance this 5 trillion? Tayari, for your information, tulikubaliana ya kwamba we are going to have alternative sources of revenue for us to finance our plan. We are going to bring in innovation. We are going to think outside the box for us to be able to finance our infrastructure. Number one, we have grown our savings significantly, vile DP amesema. And we grew our savings intentionally. Why? Because every country that has developed, whether it is China, whether it is Singapore, whether it is Korea, they have grown their savings. There is no way you can grow if you consume everything that you earn. Let me give you a basic example. Sijiongei mambo makubwa. Basic example. Tanzania today has a bigger social security fund than Kenya. Yet, Tanzania's economy is 60% of Kenya. Why? Because they made the decision on savings earlier than us. In Tanzania, you save by law 10% of your salary, 5% government saves on your behalf. In Kenya, we changed the law. In 2013, myself and Uhuru Kenyatta, we decided, because we sat down and we said, we need to change the law so that we don't remain backward when other countries are moving forward. We changed the law in 2013, ilienda kotini, kelele, siasa nini. But when I came into office, I straightened that. Today, everybody of us is paying 6% of their salary. The government or your employer is paying 6% for you, which is your money. We will get rid of old age poverty. Wale watu wanamaliza kazi wanaenda wanakufa kwa sababu hawana pension. We have gotten rid of that problem. Number two, we have built a big war chest for our development. Vile mulisikia, for 60 years, we had saved 312 billion shillings. For 60 years, pale NSSF. Kwa sababu tulikuwa tunasave shilingi 200 kila mwezi. When we changed the law, in 2 years, we have doubled what we saved in 60 years. Just in 2 years. Today at NSSF, we have 670 billion shillings. By next year, 2027, we will have 1 trillion shillings at NSSF. Tell me what's going to happen in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. In 10 years, we will not be borrowing money from China or any other country for that matter. We will be using our own savings to drive our development. That is what transformation looks like, friends. Nyinyi mnanielewa? That's what transformation looks like. And just for your information, that is how other countries have moved forward. Today, because Tanzania has a bigger social security fund, nilialikwa ati niende hapa hill. Imagine Tanzania, a smaller economy. Wako na pesa mingi mpaka wanakuja kununua shamba hapa hill, wanajenga nyumba ya gorofa 29 floors hapa. Because they are investing, sisi tumelala. Bado tunalipa 200. Hiyo inaitwa ujinga. Ama? You can call it any other name, but that's what it is. So lazima tuachane na hiyo ujinga, sisi tusonge mbele. Tunaelewana jameni? Let us make the right decisions for this nation. And when we make the right decisions, we will see how Kenya is going to change. That is why you people seated here, don't just imagine that you are sitting here. You are sitting here because history has given you the opportunity to sit here. And we must acquit ourselves. We must be the generation. We must be the leaders that finally made Kenya the Kenya we all want it to be. Please, I want to beg, I want to ask of you. Nyinyi mnanielewa? And we can change this country in our lifetime. Mukisikia Professor akisema in a generation, we can change this country. In the next 30 years, Kenya will be a first world country. Mungu atujalie. Inshallah. Ama namna gani, my friends? Si tuseme hivyo? And how are we going to do it? Already, I told you, we are going to find the resources. Today, as I talk to you, we have an opportunity to buy, as Kenyans, we have an opportunity to buy shares in Kenya Pipeline. Each and every one of us here, we have an opportunity to buy shares in Kenya Pipeline. Kenya Pipeline is not going to go away from Kenya. It's only that we will raise the money and let Kenyans own. It is part of democratizing ownership. It is part of democratizing wealth of our nation, so that each and every Kenyan can have access to owning what we have built together as a nation. So today, we are selling shares in Kenya Pipeline at the Nairobi Stock Exchange. And we are going to make sure that every Kenyan who has applied, first and foremost, gets their share before we move to anybody else. Many people I have heard have gone to Parliament to say, oh, you know, these shares of Kenya Pipeline have been overvalued. You know, hii share has been overvalued. Kwani mtu alikuwa anafikiri mali ya umma atakuja tu abebe hivi hivi? Hapana. Hii ni mali imejengwa over time, my friend. Hii ni mali imetengenezwa over time. So we have made sure that the people of Kenya get the best deal from their asset. Because it's not just us who are going to buy. There will be others who will buy. Sijui kama tunaelewana. So we have negotiated the best deal for the people of Kenya, so that that money is raised so that we can use it to develop our country. We will raise possibly 110 billion from that sale of Kenya Pipeline. And I have told the people of Kenya, in the past, corporations were privatized. The money was used to pay salaries and to pay debt. Let me say, for the avoidance of any doubt, the commitment I made to the people of Kenya, any money, proceeds of privatization from Kenya Pipeline, from Safaricom, or from any other entity will be used for only one purpose: to develop the infrastructure of Kenya. Not a single shilling is going to pay salary. Not a single shilling is going to pay debt. We are going to use that money to build additional wealth. We want, when we sell one piece of infrastructure, we develop 5 pieces of infrastructure, which can be sold later down the road. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Yes, that's what we are going to do. And with what we are going to do in the next 2 months, by God's grace, in the next 2 months, we are going to raise about 350 billion shillings from privatization at the capital market. How much are we going to raise? 350 billion. Nanielewa? Na hiyo 350 billion is going to enable us to build infrastructure worth 4 trillion Kenya shillings. Akili. That's what we are going to apply. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Tuendelee ama tuendelee? Yes. Now, atusemi next election, in the next 2 months, we begin that journey. We are not talking about the next election. We are talking about now going into the future, into the next generation. So, with that money, we can be able to do the roads, we can be able to do the dams, we can be able to generate energy. So if we have 4 trillion shillings this year, ile project yetu ilikuwa, program yetu ilikuwa trillion ngapi? 5. So this year we will raise 4. Imebaki 1 trillion. Hiyo tutafanya ukarabati kidogo kidogo, next year tumalize, Kenya isonge. Tunaelewana jameni? And we are very confident. We are going to tell the people of Kenya how we are going to do it. We stabilized the economy when nobody believed in us. We stabilized agriculture when nobody believed in us. We sorted out education when people thought it was impossible. We have sorted out health when people thought it was difficult. We are going to move Kenya from a third world country to a first world country in this generation. And that is why this meeting is important. You people sitting here, you are the people who will make that history happen. Tunaelewana? And that takes me to the next 2 items, and I want to take both of them together. The next 2 items is our party elections and the negotiations between UDA and ODM. How are those two connected to what we are having a conversation about? Unanielewa? They are important. The party elections that we carried out, in some areas very successful, in some areas not very successful, in some areas we did not succeed to carry out the elections. But we have a brief from the National Election Board. Why is the party election important? And I want you to listen to me very carefully. The party elections are important because the party is a critical instrument. Any successful democracy has a robust political party and democratic framework. We have 2 ways of implementing our agenda. The countries that have succeeded, either they have succeeded because they are a dictatorship, where once the leader says we are going here, you cannot say no, and you cannot question. That is one way of moving the country forward. For us, we don't have that luxury. For us, we are a democratic country. And for a democratic country, the only instrument you have is a political party. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Because a political party goes beyond a community. It goes beyond a region. It goes beyond a religion, either one or the other. A political party unites people into one common vision and one common program. And that is why we are sitting here, from different parts of Kenya, from different religions, from different communities, but we are united by the fact that we believe in Kenya in a certain way. And that is why I want to encourage you. Successful countries that are democratic are built on the solid foundation of a political party. It is important for us. The political party is not the party leader. The political party is not the NEC or the NGZ. The political party is the grassroots. The polling station is where the political party is made or unmade. That polling station. So, I want to encourage you. If you go to any successful political party, its success is in the grassroots. We have positions of 580,000. Is that correct? NEB people? 540,000 positions for officials in the party. 20 people per polling center. 20 people per polling center. We carried out elections the other day, and many of the senior leaders here, members of parliament and MCAs, did not even bother to participate. Very few people participated. I give credit to Kirinyaga and Bomet. At least in those two counties, we saw many members come to participate. But in other counties, the participation was very low. You find 50 people came to vote in a polling center. 20 people came to vote in a polling center. 15. Tell me whether if 30 people came to vote in a polling center, do we say that election went well? Yes. So we have instructed the NEB, any polling center where less than 50 people voted, we repeat. Any polling center where less than 50 people voted, we do what? We repeat. And please, I want to ask you, as leaders, the grassroots is very important. The grassroots is very important. I want to encourage us here, go and become chair of the ward in your county. Those are the people who are going to decide for the party going forward. Nominations will be decided by the party going forward. Whether it is nominations of MPs, nominations of county assemblies, they will be decided by the party. And the party must have legitimacy. The legitimacy of the party comes from the membership voting for the party officials. Yes. We're going to redo this exercise where we did not do well, so that the person at the polling station, let me tell you, my friends, I have been in this politics for a while. I was a member of KANU. The reason why KANU succeeded for many years is because people were elected. Watu walikuwa wanapiga mlolongo kwa polling center kuchagua officials wa chama. The reason why ODM today is where it is because they carry out elections in the polling center. Are we together? So there is no other way. We have to have elected officials at the polling center. I know many of us here are friends. I also have friends. Even if your guy, the person you want at the polling station, if you think he's a good guy, he's loyal, he's good, he's hardworking, the people at the polling station may not have the same view. So, mwambie huyo mtu yako, wewe ni mtu yangu, wewe ni mtu mzuri sana, lakini twende tuchaguliwe kwa polling station. Akichaguliwa, huyo ndio mtu sawa. Mwingine akichaguliwa, ujue mambo ni hivyo. Sio kama tunaelewana? Kwa sababu sisi wote tuko na watu wetu, si ndio? Hata saa hii kuna watu wameandikwa tu kwa list ya chama, huyu ni chairman wa mahali fulani nini. Sisi tuliandika sisi watu hapa. Sasa hawa watu wetu tuliandika hawa tuwapeleke kwa raia. Once somebody has been voted for, you know, sisi hapa wengi wetu tumechaguliwa. You know the feeling once you are elected. You feel very good. Ama namna gani? Once you are elected. Let us also give a chance to somebody else to be elected at the polling station. So that the same feeling I feel when I'm elected president, you feel when you are elected a member of parliament, let another Kenyan feel the same at the polling center. Wacha hata yeye asimame hapo na kiburi yake aseme mimi nimechaguliwa hapa. Sisi ndio kusema kwa hivyo. Si ndio? Yes. Kwani mnafikiri hii feeling ya kuchaguliwa is only meant for us? Let us spread it. Let also another fellow hapo asimame hapo polling station aseme Mimi ndio nimechaguliwa hapa na wananchi. Ndio tunasimamia maneno ya chama. That way, you also create loyal members of the party. Once somebody has been elected, it is not easy for that person to walk away because they value the mandate they have been given. Even if amechaguliwa na watu 100, hawezi kutangaza ati nimechaguliwa na watu 100, anasema nimechaguliwa kama wewe. Si ndio? Ama namna gani? So, this is what I want to encourage us. Let us take this to the grassroots. That if you want us to build the party, we must go to the grassroots. And then we will do the wards, and then we will do the constituencies, and then we will do the counties, and then we will do the national elections here. Sawa sawa? Yes. And I want to encourage every politician here. There is no harm in you being a chair of a ward, a chair of a constituency, chair of a county. Sisi wote tusimame. That is how the party gets followership. We want to create a big party base. Tumeelewana? So that we don't keep saying maybe it is this or that or the other. Why? Why is it necessary for us to have a strong political party? It is necessary for us to have a strong political party because the transformation of a country goes beyond one leader. The transformation of a country goes beyond 5 years. It goes beyond 10 years. For us to have consistency, you must have a political party that will provide the transition so that when one leader finishes, the same philosophy of transforming a nation continues with another leader and another leader and another generation. Yes, William Ruto is not going to complete this transformation. It's not going to happen in 5 years. It's going to take more, 10, 20, 30 years. For us to provide that transition, we must have a political party whose philosophy, vision, understanding, manifesto provides that transition into the future. That is why it is very important for us to build this political party. Also, this political party will also guarantee every one of you seated here, we are going to provide a platform for you to have an opportunity to demonstrate your leadership without necessarily the baggage of the community you come from. In a political party, we are all equal. Sio kama tunaelewana. Tuko pamoja. That is how somebody from a minority will lead Kenya, because they belong to a political party that has networks everywhere, and he will be judged by his political party and the political party, what the political party believes, not because of the small community he comes from. That is how we are going to move together. Do you understand what I'm saying? We want the best leaders for this country, and we want to give a chance to each and every one of you to demonstrate your leadership, and the place to do it is in a political party. Hapo kwa uchaguzi tumekubaliana na hawa viongozi. Mtu akitaka kuwa chairman wa ward atapatiwa nafasi ya kuongelesha the delegates. Aseme. Sio tu mtu atikupigiwa kura hivi. Apewe haya, simama hapo. Unataka kuwa chairman? Ndio. Okay. Tueleze. What are you going to do in furtherance of the implementation of the manifesto of the party? Ajitete hapo aseme namna hii. Yes. Then tunapiga alafu tunasongesha. Ama pale kwa constituency hakuna mtu atapata atakuwa chairman ya constituency bure. Lazima kuwe na mtihani kidogo. Utuambie kama unaelewa manifesto ya chama, mambo implementation imefika wapi. Then we begin to grow leaders. How did Barack Obama become president of America? It was in the convention when he persuaded people that he knew what he's doing. We are going to provide an opportunity for you. Si DP ameongea hapa? Tumempima. Si ndio? Si namna hiyo? These are the kind of opportunities we are going to give to everybody to display, their leadership. And then it doesn't matter the community you come from, it doesn't matter the region you come from. If you persuade all of us here that you have what it takes to be our leader, we will elect you, and Kenya will elect you, and we will move forward together. That is why a political party is important. Sio kama tumeelewana jameni? Mukitaka tumalize ukabila kwa uongozi wa Kenya, let us fashion our politics, not on the basis of individuals, but on the basis of a manifesto, a belief, a vision, a political party. Today, why do I have pressure? Why do many people say, William Ruto alituambia, he promised this, he promised this. It is because I was not elected by the community I come from. I was not elected because of the community I came from. I was elected because of the manifesto that we committed to the people of Kenya. And that is why they rightly are telling us, you told us this, we want to see it done. That is what politics should be like. Because if I was elected on the basis of the community I come from, as long as I belong to that community, I don't have to do anything. Ama? Yes. But because I was elected on the basis of a manifesto, a program, that's why many people apply pressure on us. And that is why we have worked very hard, by the way. We don't sleep, because we have a target to meet, and we have a commitment to discharge to the people of Kenya. That is why I want to ask you, friends, we must go back. Elections are very expensive, but we have undertaken that we are going to repeat as many areas as possible. In fact, I think we are repeating almost 60% of the, how much? 80, almost, 80%. 80% will be repeated. We spend, just for your information, so that you know we are serious, we spent close to 120 million in the last election. We are ready to spend more money because the party is important. The party is important. Another friend of mine who is a member of parliament, I asked them, why didn't you, I didn't see you participating in the election. He said, hiyo hakuna haja ya hiyo mambo. Sasa mtajua iko haja. Sasa mtajua iko haja. Kwa sababu, I am also going to meet aspirants next week. Kwa sababu, mimi sitaki watu watakuja kwa hii chama mwisho wakuje, they have not contributed anything to the party, alafu wakuje waseme wanataka tikiti ya chama. Yule mtu yote anataka kuwa aspirant, akuje saa hii, tujenge chama pamoja. Si ndio? Tujenge chama pamoja. Pia na wao wakuje wa contribute kwa hii chama. Ndio wakati next year tunaongea nani atapata tikiti gani kupitia kwa delegates na wale wengine na kupitia kwa wananchi. Kila mtu awe Kuna viongozi hapa walikuja UDA last minute. 1 month, mwisho. Si ndio? Hawa contribute chochote, wamekuja wakabeba tikiti ya chama, wakahama wakabeba viti. Hapana, sasa kila mtu achangie before. Ndio nimesema waacha tuite wale wanasema mapema ndio best. Kila mtu akuje hapa tujenge chama pamoja. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Si ndio? Si tuendelee namna hiyo? Ama mnataka watu wakuje hapa mwisho wachukue? Si hata wanao wakuje wachangie. Hakuna kudandia. So kila mtu akuje hapa tushirikiane, tujenge hii chama tukiwa pamoja. Ama mnasemaje jameni? Secondly, that is on political parties. Secondly, as you are aware, we have also, as we talk today, we have a broad-based government arrangement. Si ni kweli? Tulikuwa na matatizo, makelele, fujo, maandamano. Tukasema, in every challenge, there is a silver lining. And there is an opportunity if you look carefully. So in that challenge that we were undergoing, instead of focusing on the challenge, we decided to create an opportunity out of it. Today we have a broad-based government with our friends, the ODM party, and we have agreed that this broad-based has worked. Has it worked or has it not? Ule Mbadi si anaeleza maneno ya bottom up kuliko wengine wetu hapa? Ama? He's done a good job, right? And all the other members of ODM who have worked with us in government. And it is said, if it is working, don't fix it. Sindio? So what we have agreed with the leadership of ODM, that let us explore the option and the opportunity of having a coalition going into the next election. And it is because we want to broaden our base. Listen to me, guys. This election in Akuja, we want to win by a margin of between 2 and 3 million. Mnanisikia? Wacha nirudie. This election, the last election, we won by a margin of 200,000. 200,000. This election, we must win by a margin of 2 to 3 million. Ndio tuunganishe Kenya, tutembee pamoja. And I am very clear in my mind, there is a reason, there is justification for us to consolidate the country into one. Listen to me. The position where I sit, there is enough for every Kenyan. One does not need to miss for the other one to get. There is an opportunity for all of us to fit in one government. And therefore, I have no doubt in my mind that we have what it takes, not just to win the next election, but to win it resoundingly so that we can drive our transformation agenda into the future. And not just into the future, into the next generation. Listen, we have a good scorecard. True or not true? We have a good scorecard. The professor here has explained to us. We have a very good scorecard. Number two, we have a good plan of transforming Kenya. From generating energy, expanding modernizing our agriculture, and expanding our infrastructure. We have a good plan. We need a political strategy to win the next election and to consolidate the gains we are making in our scorecard and to be able to implement our plan going into the future. And that is why elections in our party, to consolidate our party, is important, and a coalition with ODM will now underwrite our transformation going into the future. It is the reason we have asked you guys to come here, so that you can agree with us that we go back and do elections properly. Sindio? And do elections properly. And number two, that we agree with the NEC, whom we had engaged, that we pursue negotiated coalition with ODM. Finally, our MCAs have asked 3 things. Number 1, they asked us that they want independence of the county assemblies. I have signed the law, the bill into act. The only problem that is waiting is, as was explained here by the leader of majority in the National Assembly, we must rework the budget. And it is not possible, Kiruga. I know you said it must be done immediately, which is okay. We see your passion for it. But we will make sure that we do it in the next budget cycle. We will now separate the budget for the county assemblies from the budget of the county executive, so that the county assemblies can become independent. Are we together? It is just by operation of law. If it was possible for us to do it faster, we would have done it. But you know, those processes take long. So just my assurance to you, the law has been passed. We will make sure, because we have the majorities in both houses, we will make sure that we implement the autonomy of our county assemblies as per our commitment. We agree with you that we also need to implement the suggestions on pension. We want a governor, an MCA, or a speaker at the county assembly. When they do their 2 terms, at least they have a pension. Because many leaders, when they get out of office, they go straight into squalor. Because the job we have is thankless sometimes. Yeah? You are a leader. Ukiamuka, unaamuka na watu. Unalala na watu. Siku yenye umekosa kiti, unaenda ukiendanga. So we must secure that, so that people who have occupied leadership positions do not become a disgrace to themselves and to the communities they represent. So I want to assure you, the instructions of this council to the executive and to the legislature is that we expedite that exercise. And the 2 leaders here, mutuambie, hii maneno tunaweza kumaliza lini? In the next, what? Can we give it 90 days, 120 days? The budget process. Okay, so let's do this. Because it involves money, and we have agreed that as a council, we model it the way members of parliament wanafanya. It is contributory, sindio? The same way the one for National Assembly and the Senate is contributory. So the MCAs also want to, it to be the same as the one for members of parliament. Let it be contributory, and by the next budget, we must implement the pensions for our county assemblies, speakers, and governors. Tumekubaliana hiyo? Sindio? And we want it to be reflected in our resolutions. That is what the... and then number 3, we have also... we have also recommended that the NADCO report be expedited. The 2 houses should expedite the NADCO report so that NGCDF is properly secured in the Constitution, that the oversight fund of Senate is also protected in the Constitution, and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund by our women reps is also put in the Constitution. And number 4, our ward fund is also secured in the Constitution. That forms part of the resolution of the National Governing Council. And it is now, once the National Governing Council resolves, it becomes an instruction. Sindio? Once it is resolved by the National Governing Council, it becomes an instruction to the executive and to the legislature to make sure that it is implemented. Tumekubaliana? Tumekubaliana? Now, I want to ask Mr. Mwaura, who is the chairman of our National Elections Board. Can you do a 2 or 3, maximum 5-minute presentation? I'm told you have a presentation on where the elections are going to happen. Is that correct? Proceed. Oh yeah, bursary. Okay. Let me say this. We also want to resolve. You know, we had a meeting with the Comptroller of Budget, because that was the problem. We had a meeting with the Comptroller of Budget, and between the county governments, we were in a meeting with the governors and the national government. There was a requirement that the national government, because it is a function of the national government, that we have an agreement with the county governments. We have since signed agreements. The chair of education, how far are we? Just give him the mic. How far are we on the agreements? We gave you a mandate to make sure. Yes, Governor of Kericho.
Your Excellency, we have finished the signing.
Yes.
And we have done everything.
For all the counties?
For all the counties, Your Excellency.
Very good.
It's just the Comptroller of Budget you are waiting.
Now, what was required between the national government and the county government, we have completed. Now it is for the Comptroller of Budget to release money for counties to be able to carry out the function of making sure that no child in Kenya is left behind or does not go to school. You will disburse bursaries. And we also want to make it a resolution of this council that we have resolved that now the process of bursaries be actualized as the agreement between the national and county government has been concluded. Are we together? Basi, can we have the National Election Board to make a small presentation for us? Ngoja kidogo. Let us just listen to this, and then if there is any other matter, we will. Can somebody write for me what is being said there? And later.
Thanks so much, Your Excellency, our party leader, the deputy party leader, PCS, party leader. I tend to believe that anybody, kila mtu ambaye alikuja amepatiwa hii kitabu UDA Grassroots Election Guide. Hakuna mtu hana hiyo kitabu. Na uchaguzi, vile party leader amesema, tutarudia almost 85% of our polling station, na tutarudia uchaguzi whereby there was no competition, whereby not more than 50 people voted, and whereby anybody was unopposed, and where no election was conducted. That will be 85% of the polling station. And in the first 20 counties, the counties which we did on 10th, tutarudia tarehe 7 March, na the other 22 counties tulikuwa tumefanya mbele, tutarudia tarehe 28 March. Ward election za hizo county 20 tutazifanya April 27th, na hizo zingine 22 tutafanya May 12. Tuko na presentation kidogo which is supposed to be in the screen.
Thank you very much, Chair, and Your Excellency, all protocols observed. We invite you to grab the UDA grassroots election guide. The brief has already been presented, so in the interest of time, we will just go briefly through the presentation, but we invite you to the National Elections Board desk at the back in case you would like to see a demonstration of how the voting process will be for the polling center and for the ward. So we invite you also, in case you need a template that has the number of polling centers where we will be repeating elections in your constituency or in your ward, kindly stop by at our desk and collect the template that we will send you via WhatsApp so that you can process that. So we will invite you through a short brief of the election voting process. And in case you have any questions, because we won't have time to do that here, see us at our desk and we will be able to assist you accordingly. So thank you. I will invite Shege.
How are you? I'll take you through shortly what our party leader, Your Excellency, instructed us to do. We were to elect 20 officials per polling center, which we have given them acronym 1 up to 4. There is only one position that requires one person, and that is the SIG. We have 2 members in every committee. There will be 3 people in 3 different sectors. There will be the position for religious, 3 of them. There will be another position for farmers, 3 representatives. Another 3 positions for the professionals. There are only 2 positions that require 4 people. That is the MSME and the youth. So a total of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 again plus 4 gives you 20. And I want to acknowledge what the President said, that we are having 581,000 officials. There will be 545 at the polling center level, 29,000 at the ward level, 5,800 at the constituency level, 940 at the county level. A total of that will give you 541,280. So that is the structure that gives us what we are having right now. From there, we'll also have the ward election, 20 officials. There will be 13 ballots that the chair said we are doing that election on from 27th to around 15th May. We'll ask our members to read that booklet because it will give you what we intend to do. Then lastly, I want to ask our NGC members to take note of a change that has happened. Ballot papers, we used to elect people using ballot papers. Na ndio maana wakati ulienda Embu, watu walikuwa wanaambiwa mudhende, wa mudhende, wa mudhende, wa mudhende, wa mudhende, wa mudhende, wa mudhende, gita. Rather than us spending the whole night counting, we are giving Kenya a solution that we can implement. Thank you, Your Excellency, for trusting our party to lead the next level of a change in our election setup, where we are telling you we can do an election and in the next 1 hour, everybody will have to know who they elected. Are we together? So these are the positions that we'll have for the ward. There are 13 ballots in total. That will be the voting process. And we ask you that when you leave here, we'll give you 2 tablets. The first tablet will give you the polling center, and the second tablet will give you the ward election. Please, members, pass by the NEB desk. You'll be able to see that process. Thank you again. I want to stop there and give it back to the chair. Asanteni.
Sasa Jimmy, utupatie program haraka haraka.
Members, I will take you through the election timelines. We have the timelines for phase 3. When you're talking about the phase 3, We are talking about the elections that were done on the 10th of January. Now, the registration process started on the 21st. We're already 5 days into that process of registration, which we hope that it will close on the 22nd of February. The deadline will be 21st of February, midnight. Members, I want to take a minute to speak into the importance of registration. You would realize that in the just concluded elections, we had issues because some of us submitted aspirants list at a time when we had already completed the preparation of the gadgets. Unlike the ballot paper, the digital process has a sequence. So the preparation of these gadgets actually commences when the deadline of registration takes place. On the 22nd of February and 23rd, the applicants or the aspirants will be given an opportunity to verify their details. On the 25th of February, NEB will undertake to publish the contests of the persons who are contesting and the polling centers. You realize that in the just concluded election, we were not able to do this part, which is very critical, but we want to assure you, if we're able to keep up with the timelines, this time on the 25th of February, we guarantee you that we'll be able to publish a list so that every aspirant will be able to know who they are competing against and where the election is going to be conducted. On the Saturday of March, that is the election day, we've said that the elections will open on the 8th at 8 a.m., and will close at 5 p.m. However, should there be a line that is still waiting to vote, NEB will always give time for that to proceed. The second phase is the second phase of election of the 22 counties which were previously held, and the names are there on the table. The deadline for the registration as well has been set to be 21st of February. Again, we insist that kindly let's have everybody register by that time so that then it will allow the process to proceed efficiently. On the 12th of March, the 13th of March, we will take the time to ensure that every aspirant has been given the opportunity to verify their details. On the 18th of March, again, NEB will proceed to publish the names of the contestants and, of course, the person on the website. On the 18th of March, publication of polling centers will be done so that every person will be able to know where they are going to conduct the election. On the Saturday, the 28th of March, will be the D-Day, and we shall open our polls at around 8 and close at 5 p.m. As His Excellency has said, at the ward level elections, every person who is competing for a position there will be given an opportunity on that same day to campaign. We shall register on the same date, and the elections will be conducted on the same date. So just like it has been explained earlier on, you will be given an opportunity to give your vision for the party and the vision of the government, and then whoever is going to be there will have the opportunity to vote for you. Now, for the ward election, we have a phase 1 and a phase 2. Now, for the first 20 counties, the election dates will start on the 27th of April, and we shall conclude on the 30th of April. All these counties are contained in the handbook which we have given. Then we have the second phase. The second phase is for the 22 counties which have been highlighted earlier. The elections will start on the 11th, and we shall conclude on the 15th of May. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Na kila mtu ameona, and when you go mkienda mashinani sasa, then mtangazia watu, and you participate in the election, and I can guarantee you the elections according to the party leader ametuamurisha, it must be free, fair, credible, na hana preference candidate. Hata yeye mwenyewe hana preference candidate, na ndio mliona alienda hata yeye kuchagua na achague candidate wake, na huyo candidate wake hakuna mtu alijua candidate wake ni wapi, labda hata aliagushwa candidate wake. So everybody is allowed to participate, and there is no preferred candidate to anybody from polling station mpaka mwisho. And that is why you find that hata ile mkutano tuko nao na next week on 4th ya aspirants, we have told all the aspirants, hata ukiwa unataka kiti ya president, lipa 1,100. Ukitaka ya governor, lipa 10,000. Ukitaka ya senator na women rep na MP, 5,000. Ukitaka MCA, 2,500. So all the seats are open for everybody. Thanks so much. God bless you. Jani masses, na wacha tushiriki uchaguzi on 7th March and 28th March.
Thank you
so much, Your Excellency.
Tuwapige makofi hawa watu wetu wa National Election Board. Details, most of these details, by the way, friends, most of the details are actually on our portal. Ukienda hapo kwa UDA portal, you will get all those details. Na hata hii presentation ya scorecard yetu, it is available on our portal. For every member of UDA, you can go to the portal and know what your government has done on health, on education, on economy, on every other aspect that we have talked to here. And we want more and more members to participate in explaining what the government has done in the process of implementing the manifesto of the party. Let me ask my brother, before I open up for a small plenary, we're going to have a small plenary, so that if there is any issue that is still outstanding, maybe we can pick it up. But let me ask my brother Musalia Mudavadi, the MCS wamesema kuna maneno ya job group na kuna maneno ya mileage, sindio? Maneno mawili hayo. And because Prime Cabinet Secretary represents most of the things, the connection between the political class and the legislature, most of those things are concerning those two. And also, he will give us additional information, especially to the aspirants who are coming, so that we know how to deal with them. Wana earthquake.
UDA, hoye! UDA! 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 Asante sana. Mimi kazi yangu leo ni nyepesi. Mheshimiwa Rais, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, na wenzangu wanachama wa UDA. Kwanza nataka niwashukuru kwa sababu mumejitokeza kwa wingi ili kuonyesha umaarufu wa chama ambacho kinaongoza serikali ya taifa la Kenya. Heko kwenu. Jambo la pili, nataka niwapongeze kwa sababu kupitia kwenu serikali imepata nafasi ya kutekeleza miradi na mikakati ambayo ilikuwa kwa manifesto yetu, na sasa tunataka tuelekee kwa kiwango cha pili, forum, ambayo itakuwa tarehe 4 mwezi ujao, 4th of February. Leo ni 27th. That means it's only a couple of weeks. Alafu tutakuwa na aspirants forum hapa State House, Ikulu. Na nataka niwatolee kwamba kwa sasa registration ya aspirants forum ni hivi: governors 64, watu 64 wamefanya registration, wanalenga kuwa governor kwa hizi county zetu 47 kupitia kwa tikiti ya UDA. Senators 98, wale wana nia ya kuwa senator kupitia kwa UDA wamefika 98. Na idadi inazidi kuongezeka. Women rep, wale wameandikisha ni 138. Wamama
wamewaka 138.
Wale wanataka kuwa women rep katika taifa letu. Members of the National Assembly, yani members of parliament, wamejiandikisha 640. 640. Kwa hivyo kama wewe ulikuwa nafikiri unaenda bila kupingwa, mambo imebadilika. 640 members of parliament or UDA members who have shown an interest to contest on the UDA ticket for parliamentary seats. 640 MPs. That means a minimum of about 2 people or 3 per constituency are already on record. Sasa MCAs. Remember, we have a total of 1,450 wards. 1,450 wards. We don't know what IBC will produce if they go forward with other matters. But out of that, for 1,450 wards, the number of MCAs coming forward on an UDA ticket is 2,263. Nirudie? Yes. Sorry. 2,863. All right? 2,863 are targeting to be MCAs in all our counties. And the number is still rising. Okay? Yeah. Now, if I pick a cue from where the president left, akitoka hapa, akisema you must push in the wards, I think you can see from this data that you cannot afford to lie low like an envelope when the polling stations, polling center elections are taking place. Because these numbers mean competition. And these people are going to mobilize to have their campaign teams elected at those polling centers. So you have no option but to go back to the polling center and now mobilize thoroughly and get more people to register in UDA. That is what will give you an advantage. If you don't do it, your opponent is doing it, and your opponent will have the advantage. So in total, the number of aspirants as of today who are going to be in State House on the 4th of February is 3,803. 3,803. I'm sure, and the portal is open. The portal is open. I repeat, the portal is still open. So most likely by the time we come here next week, perhaps this number will be twice or even 3 times the numbers that I have read today. So finally, Your Excellency, wacha niwasihi ndugu zangu kwamba in all this, one area, kwa sababu we were more local and more mambo ya hapa, taka tu niwajulishe kwamba on the international arena, the president has done a sterling job. Kwa kuweka taifa la Kenya katika pahali pazuri ulimwenguni ama duniani kwa mambo ya international relations, the president has done a sterling job. Mumeona mambo mengi, mataifa zengine visa inakuwa ngumu. Munaona mambo yanakuwa magumu hapa na pale. The president has been a source and an inspiration, and we are now regarded as an anchor state, yani taifa ambalo ni lazima ni kama nguzo kwa mambo mengi ya kimataifa. Kwa hivyo, lengo langu na ombi langu ni kwamba tuwe na umaarufu kama UDA hapa mashinani, ili nguvu ambazo tunahitaji kutoka kwa rais kwa mambo ya kimataifa zisipunguke, because we still need him and the international community needs him. Kwa mambo ya peace and security in the region hapa kwa East Africa, peace and security is necessary. Kwa mambo ya kimataifa, African Union, yeye ndio champion wa African Union kwa mambo ya reform. Ana reform taifa la Kenya, lakini pia ana jukumu la kureform African Union. Tunamhitaji kule, Afrika inamhitaji. Yeye hivi karibuni anaitisha mkutano wa France Africa Summit. Mkutano wa kwanza wa taifa la France na taifa na bara la Afrika in a non-French speaking country in May this year. Mheshimiwa Rais na mwenzake Macron wana conference kubwa hapa ya Africa France Summit na pia na business community. Hiyo ni jambo la muhimu sana, na kuna projects nyingi watazungumzia na mambo kuhusu bara la Afrika. Jambo lingine, yeye ndio chairman wa East African Community. Hivi karibuni atakuwa na summit, tena apeane sasa ushukani kwa mwenzake kutoka East African Community. Yeye pia ndio sasa mwenyekiti wa COMESA summit hiyo. Alafu tena ana summit amepanga ambayo inaleta SADC, inaleta East African Community na inaleta COMESA pamoja. Yote itakuwa hapa. So ladies and gentlemen, a strong and solid foundation for the president allows him to do a lot for Kenya and also allows him to do a lot for the nation and for the international community. So let us give him all the support, all the encouragement by being solid hapa kwa base. Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Mheshimiwa Rais.
Thank you. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Musalia. Thank you very much, my friend. So tumekubaliana. Nataka ndugu zetu MCAs niwaeleze, Rome was not built in one day. So hatua kwa hatua, si ndio? Kuna yale tumetimiza, kuna yale tumekubaliana vile itatimizwa. Mambo yenu ya mileage na job group, you know where it is. I just want to encourage you kupitia caucus yenu, kupitia ile other CAF na wale wengine, so that we consult. The Honorable Musalia Mudavadi will facilitate so that we can engage the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. You know it's an independent organization, so that we can see how to sort you out. It is understandable that many MCAs, the job group was downgraded, and many people are not doing well. So we will see how to support you. Vile Mheshimiwa Musalia amesema, we are very proud of where Kenya is today. Kenya globally is recognized. You know, Kenya became a country that was invited to a state visit in Washington after 18 years of no African country going to Washington. Even on top of that, even the new president in America today recognizes Kenya. We became the first country to get an agreement on health. And today we have $1.6 billion over the next 5 years. $1.6 billion, not loan, but grant for matters of health in Kenya. We have the largest allocation, more than any other country in the African continent, and we are the first to be able to get that money. Ye mnanielewa? Yes, kumaanisha tunaelewa what we are doing. And we continue to build networks for our country to make sure that we succeed as a nation. In our midst, let me say that we have 164 senators and members of parliament in our midst. Tuwapigie makofi. In our midst, we have 910 MCAs. Tuwapigie makofi. We have been joined by, of course, those who are UDA are 811. We have been joined by another 100 MCAs from all our other affiliate parties, and we are all moving in the same direction. We have 18 governors who are here with us, and 14 deputy governors, and we are a big team here. So I think I'm going to provide space. If there is, maybe we're going to do a plenary kidogo, just to listen to a few interventions here. We will get 2 members of the Governor's Caucus, 2 members of the Senators' Caucus, 2 members of the Speaker's Caucus, and 2 members of the MCA Caucus. Sindio? Not necessarily officials, just so that, and 2 members from members of Parliament. Can we start from this side? Let us, on behalf of members of Parliament, Mungatana, can you speak there? And then we will get another member of Parliament, a lady, this time from this side, Mary Emase.
Thank you, Excellency. I wanted to speak on the question of UDA and ODM joining together. Your Excellency, I want to stand here and say we support, especially for those of us who come from the coast. When we started working with our colleagues who are from ODM, our focus as a region towards various development issues became much better. But the point I wanted to make, Your Excellency, you will remember the biblical story of the prodigal son and the son in the house. So, Your Excellency, as we go into structured negotiations, we, the children of the house, are very worried because sometimes the people who have been in the house, they tend to be sidelined when the other children from outside come inside. So, Your Excellency, we don't know the team that is being constituted by our party to go into those negotiations, but in as much as we support you, Your Excellency, please remember the children from the house. In the biblical story, you remember they complained. That son complained. And you know, when we see very nice ministries and everything going to the other side, Your Excellency, people worry. People worry, Your Excellency. They don't tell you, but people worry. So we just want you to constitute a team that will represent the worries of the children from the house. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Mary Emase. We are taking notes. We have had you, Mungatana.
Thank you, Excellency. Mine is on aspirants. You know, Your Excellency, Kenyans tuko na tabia zetu. There are individuals out there who are interested in vying, but they are still in a wait and see mood, waiting to see the wave. Just for avoidance of any doubt, we want to be sure. Supposing somebody doesn't show up, doesn't register, and then they emerge sometime towards the end of the year or next year. And surprisingly, probably these are very strong candidates. Are we going to open a window for these aspirants to register, or our word here today is final, that they register before 4th and not come to disturb us later, sometime along the way? Just that reaffirmation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I will answer, let me answer both of them. Starting with Mungatana, I want to tell Mungatana that with all the negotiations that have gone on so far, the president is still in UDA, just for your information. I don't think there is any bigger position that you can think about than that of president. And we have made sure that we have balanced all the other negotiations, all the other positions appropriately. There will be give and take. In any negotiation, there is give and take. But as you have said, we are going to be careful to make sure that that is win-win and not win-lose. That is the position. Insofar as what Madam Emase has said, we are not closing the aspirants forum now, but we want to make sure that those who are willing to be part of this movement, we are giving them a window to come and work with us towards 2027. Of course, those of us who are already within the party, we have an advantage over those who are coming from outside. And it is up to you. You know, I see, if you are a member of parliament, for example, and I keep telling my colleagues here, as a member of parliament, if as a member of parliament today, you have a salary, you have CDF, you can access, you know, other government.